Good evening and welcome to DarkHour Paranormal. I am your host, Michael Roser. And tonight we got some great stuff planned. Some interesting guests that will be joining us as well. And we're going to touch upon a few things that aren't really talked about very often and are easily overlooked in the paranormal field, in my opinion. So without further ado, I don't have either guest with me yet, but they should be popping up soon. That being said, I don't want to get into the topic yet. I don't want to give it away. Not yet. You guys did see in the thumbnail that I posted earlier that we would be talking about Madame Sherri's castle. We'll be talking about Dudleytown and the Little People Village. All of these, well, two of these are set in Connecticut, and the third is in New Hampshire, up in Chesterfield. So this will be interesting to say the least, because I do have someone joining us soon who has actually been to Madame Sherri's castle, and I think she will bring some light with her experience. You can find a lot of history on these things. And it's seldom that you find something reported paranormal. You got to visit some of these other sites that, these other investigational teams that are out there doing this stuff to really get anything. But again, it's rare to find, any accounts of things happening. But when you do, I mean, you only need one that you could verify to say, it's all worth the time there. Yeah, so sorry, we're just waiting for my guests to join before I give too much away on the topics at hand. How's everybody doing tonight? Let's check the chat, see who's up, who's out, who's awake. Chuck Bam, what's good, buddy? I saw you were here much earlier. Puck Wedgies, Jesus, yeah, Puck Wedgies, yeah. Bridgewater Triangle, yes. Well, look who it is. How we doing, Rich? Good to see you in the chat tonight, pal. Thanks for coming by. This is a first for us. All right, so I am waiting for GutterGawker to come through, but right now I'd like to introduce to you. Her name is Kate Hale. She's a second-degree high priestess in a tradition of Wicca with a focus on Pennsylvania Dutch powwow. Now, for you practitioners out there of Wicca and possibly some form of witchcraft, you're going to understand that maybe a little bit better than I do, but I believe she will have enough to explain. So please, everyone, let's welcome Kate Hale.
Oh, hi.
Hello.
Hi, that caught me off
Welcome
guard.
to the show.
Sorry, I was watching Golden Girls.
Oh, okay. Good show, actually. So tell me a little bit about yourself here. I did mention that you're a second-degree high priestess in the tradition of Wicca and so forth. Do you mind going into that a little bit? What does that entail?
Well, a lot of work. Obviously, there are different traditions of Wicca. We've talked about that before. Each one has its own bit that you study. I guess a little bit more than others. What my tradition is, it's more Germanic and Alexandrian, and we do focus a lot on the Pennsylvania Dutch powwow. So if you've ever seen those hex signs, they're usually just a big circle with very colorful pictures. I actually have a few over there. I can grab one just to show you, but that's where it comes from. Not gonna lie, that question caught me off guard. I wasn't expecting to talk about it.
That's okay. I just wanted to give everybody a quick idea of where you come from, because what we're going to get into, it's sort of relevant, I think, to understand, your practice and what you do. So you went, was it yesterday or the day before? You went to Madame Sherri's castle. And before we get into your experience, I'm going to give a brief history about this place for those who are not familiar. I'll be honest with you, it's something that I've come across in my research, like a lot of things. And I did, research some things, and then as time goes on, I've forgotten a lot of things. So I learned a lot even looking through this again. So this is located in Chesterfield, New Hampshire. The owner was a woman named Antoinette Sherri, and she was born in France in 1878. Now, what's interesting about this woman is that she really lived life in a very grandiose way. She was a fashion designer. She had a background in this. She came to America in 1911 to continue her studies with theater and singing, and ended up visiting some friends in Chesterfield. She went to New York originally when she came here. It was from Puerto Rico to New York, and then went up to visit friends here in New Hampshire, and fell in love with the forest on Gulf Road, which is where her castle eventually was erected. Now, that being said, 1931, she built it. So it wasn't too much longer after she had visited the area that she actually built the castle there. It's a really cool spot. I am going to show you a couple pictures of that in just a moment. To kind of, again, make this sort of brief, one of the things about this castle that's it's so intriguing, and really one of the biggest things or only things that are left, I mean, I again should be able to tell you better than I, is this winding staircase that goes so high up into the forest. It's really a marvelous piece of architecture. I wonder in its heyday what this place really looked like. Um, she would stand at the top of these stairs, and this house of hers, this castle that she built, was really for entertaining high profile individuals from her circle in New York and other places. And she'd throw these incredibly lavish parties. Now, the interesting thing about that was because she was so flamboyant in her ways, she would wear these Broadway costumes and greet guests at the party at the top of the stairs that you're going to see. Very extravagant, very interesting. So she owned this castle until her money eventually.
Oh no.
Holy Christ, dude! I'm so sorry, guys. Holy shit! All right, so my internet went out there. That's the first time that's happened here. I am doing this remotely once again, but damn it! Sorry. Thank you guys for sticking with me. Uh, Jesus. All right. Hopefully that came back. I'm going to ask Kate to come back on. I see Gutter is with us. I'm going to stick through again here. And give me 1 second. Just letting her know we're back up and live. All right. How's everything? Everything look good? Everything look good, guys? Shit. Ah, man. Talk about an interruption to your show, Something so simple as internet going out. All right. All right, gotta give me a moment there, pal. I'm gonna bring you on. But very briefly, I'm gonna finish talking about what I was talking about here with Madame Sherri's castle. Uh, oh, I'm bringing back Kate back on. Yep, absolutely. Here she is. Hang tight for just a moment there, Gutter. Sorry, my internet went out. Sorry. Okay, so we're back on track here. So she had the castle until her money ran out. Apparently, she was quite scandalous and sort of a public figure for that reason, and uh, ended up just opening it, and it sat in the woods. Now, in 1962, a fire did break out and burnt 99% of the place. Only the stairs remained after that. Oh, so long ago. She died in 1965 in poverty. She was actually in Brattleboro, I think. Brattleboro. So this is Madame Sherri. And Kate, I'd like to, again, bring you back in on this, chime into your experience, what you experienced there. Now, before you do, just very quickly, I'm going to say that the very little information I did find was that people did visit this place and find presences that were there, unnerving feelings, cold spots, orbs, lights in the woods, and sometimes they heard the music of whatever festivities were happening with Madame Sherri's event. Right. So, what happened with you? So you went and visited there. Sorry, I'm still trying to ground after that nonsense.
No,
You visited, and what did you
yeah.
experience?
I went up there yesterday. A lot of my friends have told me that it's a beautiful place. I should really go look at it because I would really admire it. Hi, friend.
Hi, Gutter.
Hey, what's up? Oh,
you
man,
doing,
I
buddy?
thought, whoa, you guys caught me off guard.
Sorry.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
You can hear
I
me?
didn't want to leave you out of the conversation for too long
What's
here.
up, Lisa? Hi, guys. I'm outside the bar tonight. There's a lot of people here. Check it out. See, it's upside down. Sorry.
No, you're good, man. All right. So right now we're just listening to what Kate was saying. She had an experience over in this location.
What did you see? You saw fairies? Is that what we're talking
No,
about?
I didn't see fairies at all. I know a lot of people have said that they've felt fairy energy up at this place. I don't know if you've shown a picture at all or anything about what's left. Um, After the fire, there's a semi-spiral staircase that goes up, has 3 arches. It is a gorgeous structure. That's part of what's left on the right-hand side, and on the left-hand side is the main stairwell that goes up to where the entrance of the home is, and then there's the foundation that's left with a part of the main fireplace. Now, I was kind of called to go there yesterday. Just something was like, hey, you should really come and visit today. So I did. I drove an hour and a half up there. I get there and I park, I get out, and as I'm walking into this place, it was immediately as soon as you cross over, because it's built on land where there is a big pond as well. And there's a little brook with a bridge. And as you pass over the bridge, you can immediately feel everything just starting to rise up. And it's not far that you have to go up the path before it splits off. Now, when you come to the fort, you can go to the right up to where the ruins are, or you can go to the left and I believe it's, what is the loop called, Michael? It's Shelley's loop, I think is what it is.
I'm not sure. I'll be honest with you. I don't know that one.
That's okay. I think like the trail that they made for you to take around the land is called Shelley's Loop. So that's where it splits off. I decided to go up and to the right to go visit the ruins first. And as I start walking up there, it's a dirt path. Almost, I wouldn't say that somebody carved it out, but that's kind of what it looked like, where, it's just dirt pushed up on the sides. And as I'm walking, you immediately started to hear chattering, party chatter. And not only were you hearing that party chatter and people talking, but all of a sudden you'd start to hear the clinking and clattering of dishes and silverware and just generally a good time as you're walking up. Now, for me personally, part of what I do in my practices is, yes, I do divination, things like that. We have contacted, or we've been in contact with spirits and things like that. And not only just in my personal practice, but you've heard some of my stories, just my personal experiences of the things that I've seen and dealt with. So, like I said, as I'm walking up the path, before you see the ruins, you hear party chatter and clattering and clanking of dishes and silverware. And I look down and I can see on myself a very elaborate teal gown. And under no circumstance would I go in the woods in a teal gown, but here we are. So I was like, okay. And as I'm walking up, I come to that first picture that I sent you. I don't know if you have that available, but the first picture I sent you is where you can see what is left. So the stairwell that has the archways, and then the main stairwell to the house. That's the first thing I saw. I went over to the stairwell with the arches, and I kind of checked it out a little bit. And as I'm doing that, you can still hear a party happening. Then I decided I was going to go over to the main stairwell and walk up. And as I'm walking up, I get to where the entrance of the home would be. And I stood there, and something like kind of stopped me. I was like, you can't come in yet. Okay. And what you see when you stand there, the building's not there anymore. It's just the foundation. And like I said, in the middle of the foundation is a fireplace, or what's left of the fireplace anyway. Yeah, so that's the first picture that I took. Over on the left of the picture is the main stairs that go up to where the house would be. So like I said, at the top of that, you can see the foundation, or what's left of the foundation of the home. And something had stopped me. Like, you can't come in yet. As soon as I took a picture of the fireplace, I don't know if you have that up that you can show, but as soon as I took a picture of the fireplace, then whatever energy was like, oh, you can't come in yet. The energy was like, oh yeah, you can come in. Sure. All right. So I went in. And as soon as I stepped foot over that boundary between where the stairs are and going into the home, the party clatter just went away. Like, you couldn't hear it inside of the house. You could hear it outside. Now, as I was looking to the right of where the fireplace is, some of the foundation gave way. So it was teetered like this, and then you could go in there if you really wanted to, but I wouldn't. But I looked over that way, and something was like, no, don't go over there. So I didn't. I decided to go on the left-hand side of the fireplace, and I just walked through and came to what would have been the back door. Now, as I was walking through, like I said, there was no more party noise, and it felt as though any good energy that was coming to the house would come to the front and then just dissipate as it went through the house. And then when you got to the back door where I went out, it just wasn't okay anymore. What I did was I had poked my head out, and I looked over to the right, and that's where the back of the building would have been. And as I looked over to the right, I don't know how to say it on your show, because I don't want to, I don't want to be graphic. But off to the right, there's no other way to describe it, but in my mind's eye, you could see that there was somebody just being brutally murdered behind the home.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. Jesus. Yep. Go ahead.
But that's what I saw happening to the right, and I was just like, no, we're not going to go that way. So I decided to go off to the left. And when you come out the left, it's bringing you back around the main stairwell, and you just come around in a circle. And as I did that, just you didn't hear anything anymore, and there was just this uneasy feeling everywhere. So when I came back to the stone arches, for some reason I was very, very drawn to the center one, and I went up to the center one and I took a few pictures. There's one of me standing in front of it.
Okay, I'm sorry to stop you just one moment. Gutter, I accidentally blocked somebody. How do I take that off?
Oh, nice job.
You go to their just go to their profile and unclick it.
Their profile?
You scroll down in their scroll down in the comments and find the person and just unblock them.
It should still show up in the chat.
Who's the dude?
The worst one that I could have accidentally fucking done this to, Rich.
Oh, Richie Goofon?
Yeah, I accidentally blocked him, and I don't see his name in the chat anymore. And I definitely did not mean to do that by any means. Oh my god! So yeah, thanks for joining my show the first time, Rich. I blocked you. How the hell?
Hey, Michael, just make me a moderator and I'll fix it.
I hope that you can let me know how to do that too, and I'd be more than happy. But God, if it's so bad right now, I'm so sorry. The show has got so many different distractions, and the first time Rich tunes in,
I just made a comment. Just click on my name. There's like 3 little buttons next to it. You can do all kinds of things. And if you go back to Richie's name, you could probably do the same thing. Hi, Lisa. I'm sorry. I'm interrupting Lisa talk. She's doing awesome.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Kate, Jesus Christ.
Kate, I'm blind as hell. I apologize. I can't see shit. So blind.
Yeah, I know.
That's okay.
I can't figure out how to get him back on here, and I know that Gutter's telling me how to do it, but I don't see fucking his name disappeared from thing. I don't mean to take up this time in the show. I'm so sorry, but I really feel bad that I blocked this guy.
Michael, that's actually hilarious.
You're sweating bullet. Oh my god.
You're doing great. Proud of you.
Right. Anyway, Gutter, if you just want to private chat me on that one, we'll keep the show going. Sorry.
All right, yeah. Click on my name though. Make me the mod in here though, please, Michael.
So when I click on your name, it gives me an option to kick you from the studio or ban you from the studio. That's it.
That's it?
Yeah.
No, you're looking at StreamYard. You're not looking at YouTube.
No, I'm on StreamYard. I'm not. Oh, so I gotta go. Okay, here we go.
That's how you fix it. Yeah. I'm sorry. I should have told you to go on YouTube.
I know. Sorry, I didn't realize either.
Kate, where are you? Kate, where are you from? I didn't catch that part.
Oh, that's okay. I'm from Worcester, Mass.
Okay. Oh, another Massachusetts person. Do you say park the car too?
I do not.
I'm gonna go park the car.
Park the car. Okay, I do not.
Do you say park the car too?
I do. I do say park the car. I pronounce my R's. I do not.
Do you say park the car too?
I do. I do say park the car. I pronounce my R's.
Michael, you gotta hit mute. Hey, do you not park the car too?
I do. I do say park the car. I pronounce my R's.
Michael, you gotta hit mute.
On who, me?
Hey, do you not park the car too? There you go.
Sorry,
Michael,
Jesus.
No, just hit mute on the YouTube channel that you're playing or the video.
Yeah, I did. Sorry, Jesus. God.
Hey, Kate, it's a work in progress, babe. We're working this out day by day. We're getting better each day. We skin our knees a lot, but we get back up.
He's right.
Doing great today.
This is.
I'm gonna say, hey, nobody jerks. What's up, Jilly England? What's up? There's a lot of people in the chat room. They're cool. I love these guys.
Oh, this is awesome. Okay. Well, I'm gonna.
Is everything back to normal? Did you fix Richie's stuff?
No.
On YouTube, click on my name and say add as mod. Then I'll fix it.
So I should just be able to see you right over here in the chat somewhere, right?
Yeah, go on YouTube chat. Go on YouTube chat, and you'll see my name. I said hi. Hi.
Okay, I got you. You'll see here. All right.
It gives you options. Then I'll fix Richie's. I'll fix Richie Goofon stuff.
Add moderator. All right. You're now a moderator. Please fix this shit. Thank you.
All right. You and Kate talk for a minute. I'm gonna fix it. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Good Lord. All right, guys. Thanks for sticking with us through this. I mean,
I'll be on the wing right here.
So, Kate took some pictures when she went out there, and I'm gonna put a couple more up. She sent me 5 of them, so I've showed you 2 so far. Sorry again for the distractions. It's like you said, apparently a work in progress here, and every day I'm learning something new with this program. So, Jesus, I can't believe I banned poor Richie. Anyway, all right. So, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
All right, cool. Let's see. All right, so I'm gonna share this picture with everyone.
Which one
Yeah.
have we got?
This one right here. What's this all about?
Oh, that's the fireplace I was talking about.
Okay.
When you get all the way up the main stairs, and like I had said, I stood there for a bit and was basically like, no, you can't come in yet. But as soon as I took a picture of that, as soon as I took that picture, then I was like, okay, you can come in now. I don't remember what part of this I was at before everything started going berserk.
I'm so sorry. I apologize.
I think I was on the part where I had come out the back door.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Start there. We'll go from there.
Like I said, I don't want to be graphic. I don't on your show or anything. But as I came out the back door, I remember looking off to the right. That would have been the back of the house. And over there, like I said, in my mind's eye, the only thing I can say that I saw was there was just a man. No other way to put it. I can't really sugarcoat it, but there was a man just being brutally murdered back there. Like I said, I can't sugarcoat that. So obviously, I'm not gonna go that way if that's what I see. So I went the other way. And in the first picture of mine that you showed, where it had the stairwell and then the structure, the back door leads you out and around to the front again. When I came back around to the front, or as I was doing that, there was no more noise, no more happy party feeling, no clattering of dishes, no chatting, like no ha ha ha, none of that. There was nothing. And when I came back to the front, like I said, all of a sudden there was just uneasiness in the air, and it was thick. But I was like, okay, well, I've never been here before, so I'm going to try to get some pictures of myself with it. Cool. I don't know if I sent you that picture of me standing in front of one of the archways, but I was drawn. There are 3 archways. The middle archway, for whatever reason, I was very, very drawn to. And, once he pulls that up, you'll see that. It's just me standing in front of it. There's a tree behind it that you and I discussed where the trunk grew up a little bit and then just like does a 90-degree bend. Yeah, there it is. We talked about that for a bit, but even just like looking at that, there's just, I don't know, to me, there's a lot of uneasy feeling off of it. Like the fact that people say, oh, there's a lot of fairy energy and everything there. If there is, it's not there. It's way somewhere else away from that structure, I feel. I think the first archway there may lead to some sort of fairy realm in some sense, but I wouldn't go through any of those. But again, I was drawn to that second archway. So I decided I'd take a picture with it. So I did. And then I decided I would just take a picture of, my face, and here's the stairs behind me. Now, the first picture I sent you that's like that, where I was standing, I don't know if you want to pull that picture. You don't have to, but
You're in the foreground, right?
yeah.
Yep.
Like I said, it's just a picture of my face with the stairwell behind me. As soon as I snapped that photo, directly across from me in the woods was a very low moan growl. As soon as I snapped that photo. And when I go walking in the woods, yeah, that one. And even like in the archway there, like I don't like that feeling that I get off of it. But as soon as I took that photo, there was that low moan growl. And I usually have one earbud in if I'm out in the woods, but I wasn't listening to anything. Because like I said, I could hear all that party clattering and stuff. So I didn't have any music on or anything. I heard that and I was like, oh, maybe it was just me. But then I took another photo. And when I took that second one, I heard it again, and immediately starting right above where my boots are and just beginning to pins and needles all the way up my leg. Like I just had to go. I had to get out of there. So I started walking away really, really fast. But you could feel something was kind of running up on me, and something was like, you need to turn around right now. I turned around, and as soon as I did, something dissipated like this, just right off of the path. And then all of a sudden I heard run, and I turned around and I just booked it out of there. And in the magical sense, if you are at a crossroads or anything like this, or more than one path, usually magic can't find its way. So I knew I had a 50-50 chance if I got back to where the fork was while I was running, that it wouldn't stay with me, but it did. And I didn't lose it until I crossed back over the bridge and over the water, because usually entities can't cross water.
Yeah, that's interesting. I've heard that as well.
But I did. I booked it all the way out of there, and I didn't stop until I got in the car and started to drive away. So I haven't heard anybody talk about negative experiences there. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say that was a positive experience, but like we had talked about, people say, oh, there's fairy energy there, things like that. I didn't get that at all. So, like, that was my experience there. I don't know if anybody else has heard of experiences like that. I know we talked about it where Madame Sherri walks around still. I didn't get that at all. Like, there's definitely, like, it's not good. It's not good. Like, back in the day, probably even earlier than when she erected the house, you have these elaborate homes, castles, mansions, things like that. Ritzy people, what else do? They hold giant parties, and they have, like we talked about, oh, bring a Ouija board for the gimmick. We'll hold a seance under the full moon, things like that. And people would, conjure up stuff, not knowing what they were doing. Maybe not knowing what they were doing. But here, it feels like these extravagant parties were to just lead people out to the property, and then people were just kind of like mowed down. Like, death happened there. That's what I get from that place. A lot of it happened there.
You know, for the love of God, I have never had this many technical issues on this show in my entire life since I started doing this, even before I use YouTube. And it's just the internet connection here is terrible. I am so sorry, guys, but thank you for sticking around. I think we're gonna talk about a few more things as long as we can hold out, and then we'll give it up because I mean, Christ, this has been this has been one hell of a roller coaster since we got on. All right.
Okay.
Yes, we're back. Hey, go ahead.
I'm
Go ahead.
gonna tell you this right now. This
Jesus,
happened. This happened to me with Tammy yesterday when I was trying to talk to Tammy about it. Every time I tried to call her to tell her about what happened, our connection kept getting cut off. Something doesn't want me to talk about it.
Oh shit. Okay, well that's interesting. That's interesting.
It happened yesterday with Tammy. So if that's what it is, I'm sorry that the show keeps getting cut off.
It's just weird because I've done shows down here in Connecticut before. That's where I started the channel, give or take. But that being said, I've never had the Wi-Fi drop ever. It's never happened. So, and this is twice. I mean, I know the other thing where I banned him, that was my fault, but still.
You're right near the router too. Mm-hmm. So.
It's you know what? There may be an association. I mean, hopefully they can hold off until we finish what we're doing here.
I know. That's why I said, I'm sorry. It's my fault.
It's totally fine. Gutter, you can come back on anytime you want. So, you ready? Okay.
Yeah.
Hey,
what's up, guys?
We're still here. I think for now. Thank you. God, Jesus. You guys I appreciate you guys taking a look at the StreamYard thing. You can't even see my face. Hey, how's everybody doing? How's it going? I gotta come down here now.
I fixed the Richie Goofon thing, but hey, Kate, there's people asking you questions in chat. They want to know where did the growl come from? Do you know where the growl came from?
Like I said, Michael, if you want to pull the first picture where you can see both stairwells again, if you look at that picture, I was standing at the very bottom of the portion where the archways are, and directly across from me, on the opposite side of where the path is to come back around to the front of the structure, there's a thick wooded area over there. That's where it came from. Like I said, it was directly across from me.
Is that the one?
No, not that one. Yeah,
okay.
The one where you can see both stairwells.
I was curious. I meant to ask the same question because that's always good to know where it came from. I mean,
I would honestly say is probably 30 yards away from me.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Wow.
It was close.
Jilly England in the chat room is saying she gets growls around her as well. Do you guys know what the growls are?
That's a very good question. I mean, no, Jilly does investigation in her home on her podcast and her show. I should say, for whatever reason, I haven't been able to catch it live, but I've watched some of the replays, and it looks like they got a few things in there. I mean, she could tell you about the Shadow Man that she's caught too. I mean, very cool stuff over there on Jilly's channel. Definitely check her out, and of course, please support my good man GutterGawker. Check his channel out. He's full of awesome paranormal stuff, UFO, themed phenomenon. I mean, and he's got the UFO cam as well. So that's pretty cool, man. That's pretty cool. Okay, so
I gotta whip out the UFO cam for you guys. I'm sorry, it's a little bit loud in here, but I gotta share a couple fairy stories with you. Dark Hour, are you ready for them?
Absolutely.
They're not my stories, but I've heard these stories online. Spaced Out Radio, the Dave Scott. Mm-hmm. He said he has a friend that has fairies in his backyard, so he goes to visit them often. But I don't think I'm not sure if he's ever seen one, but he said he has seen gnomes. Do you know what gnomes are?
So I have an idea. I mean, but I don't know the traditional description.
I have no idea what gnomes are either. But there's a Tessa Nicole Thompson. I was on her show a couple weeks ago or a week ago. There's a alleged story that she saw fairies in her backyard, and they were cooking hot dogs.
How do you like that?
Yeah,
That's interesting.
these are true stories. People are saying this stuff online, and I believe them. You know, I've never personally seen a fairy. I would love to see one. I see a lot of UFOs, but I've never seen a fairy. Kate, have you seen a fairy?
I haven't seen them, but I've definitely worked with fairy energy. I know the whimsy of them is very alluring, but you do need to most certainly watch out for them. Like, I wouldn't mess with the fairies at all, especially if they were in my backyard. Make sure you leave an offering of milk and honey out for them.
Milk and honey, good idea.
Especially on the full moon. Leave an offering of milk and honey, you'll keep them happy.
Are the fairies supernatural, Kate?
I mean, that's debatable the way that you look at it, honestly. Like, I come from a Celtic background in my teaching of Wicca and everything, so we know the fairy and the she in that aspect. Some people might think that fairies are supernatural to an extent, but like I said, I think that that's more personal than just being able to say, yes, they're just supernatural beings.
What's the purpose of a fairy? What's their job, Kate? What do they do in this world?
What's your job? No, I'm kidding.
I work at the
I'm just picking.
I work at the airport in Chicago.
I'm just picking on you. I mean, I know that you mentioned gnomes. Gnomes are sort of elemental beings. You know, like I said, from my background anyway, we lost Michael, but from my background anyway, each quarter, so north, south, east, west, each quarter has an element that's associated with it, and with that come your elementals. In the regards of gnomes, they are the earth elementals. So they hail from the north. In regards to fairies, though, you know, I can't really say what their job is here. They're definitely ancient energy, for sure. They've been here forever. I know Michael's actually worked with fairy magic too.
Michael, you've seen fairies? Please tell me the story.
I've never seen fairies in the respect that, you know, something's standing in front of me. I'd say I would stretch to say that I haven't even really seen them in my mind's eye, but I've definitely been in contact with fairy energy. There was a place up in upper state New York called Brushwood over by Lake Erie, actually. And it's just a big camping place. A druid pagan folk would come down, spend the week, and, you know, just enjoy the woods. And they had this little fairy garden they set up with Christmas lights and everything. It was really pretty. I remember going into it one evening, and the difference in the energy on the outside of the enclosure to being on the inside with the garden and everything was night and day. I felt this soft, relaxing energy, almost like, you know, somebody hit you with a tranquilizer dart or something, and it just changed your energy completely. And I spent a good amount of time in there, and it felt very healing for me. Now, I know fairies can be mischievous too. I know that there's that aspect, but I've never really personally come across one myself, although I do have a story that involves some potentially mischievous fairies that happened in Connecticut some years ago. I'll give that to you very briefly. So there were two women who owned this beautiful garden, and, you know, people would come from all over the place just to view their garden. And they always asked them, well, how do you keep up something like this? I mean, it's enormous. There's only two of you. You guys are getting older. And she said, well, we are in contact with the fairies, you know, in this area, and we work with them intimately. And what ended up happening was there was a day that I remember I was going to go and visit with my mother, and we made the call to let them know we were coming. And one of the women had said that we couldn't come down because something had come through a portal or a vortex on their property and destroyed every flower that they had overnight. And they attributed that to some negative energies coming in, and it took them a very long time to rebuild.
It's horrible. Those poor evil little fairies. Why would they destroy flowers like that?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's a duality in all of this. I mean, at least the reality we're living. So,
Hey, Kate.
I don't
Kate,
know.
Kate, do you have any cool paranormal tattoos on your arms?
Keep going.
No, I don't have any paranormal tattoos on my arms. No.
Could you describe what you might have? They're very interesting. I have some on my arm too. I can't show them right now. I have a shirt on, but
This arm has I have my big crow wing here. My patron goddess is the Morrigan. So this is my connection to her directly. Here I have a quartz crystal with wolfsbane in front of it for protection. I have a lavender sprig on the opposite side of my moon, and I got a little moon. I can't twist my arm that much, but I have a little moon with a serpent. The serpents are one of my spirit animals.
do you know anything about? I'm sure you do because you have a quartz crystal tattoo on you. I have. There's a haunted bar here. There's a guy who died on the pool table. He won't leave. Do you know what kind of stone I might need to help get this guy to the light? Is there anything I could use?
For something like that, I would honestly use exorcism herbs rather than a stone. I mean, the stone could help you cleanse the area, but I really think, putting down some oil and herbs, I would say in the four corners of the room that you think he's in, that would kind of help him to go where he needs to. And I know, the word exorcism sounds kind of harsh, but
I had a friend online who suggested that I should use black salt. Do you know anything
Yep.
about black salt?
Yep,
Should I put black salt? He said I should only use black salt if I have good intent and if I really want the ghost to leave. Is that true?
I mean, black salt is used more for protection. Salt is good for purity, which is, why you would make a circle of salt. But with black salt, it's to keep out negative energies, things like that. I don't know if what's there is malicious at all. If he's just kind of like hanging out, putting around, I don't really think, you need to go to that extent. I mean, yes, it is good for protection and good for keeping anything away from the barrier of black salt. But I've been taught that we only use that in, I wouldn't say extreme circumstances, but more for malicious things. So you could do that, but I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But I would definitely go with the herbs.
Herbs work much better because they're grown in the sunshine, right? Salt is much harder.
I wouldn't say that they work better just because of sunlight, but different herbs do different things. Salt can only go so far. Like I said, you have your exorcism herbs like rue and yarrow and things like that you could put in the corners or make little you can make little herb satchels that you can just like hang in each corner of the room that he's in. Like I said, just to kind of like get him to move along on his way. But if you were going to do like a circle of black salt to keep any sort of negative energy out, you'd have to do that all around the whole property.
Have you ever studied anything voodoo, Kate? Are you involved in the white witch part of it?
There is no white or black magic. It's all, I know people will say that there is. I mean, there's duality in all things. How do you know what the light is if you've never walked through the dark? How can you recognize the light without being in the dark? Magic is magic. Like I said, I wouldn't say that it's white or dark. But But in respect to that question, no, I don't just do light magic, and no, I don't just do dark magic. I need to be able to pull from whichever one I need at that time. But in terms of voodoo, hoodoo and voodoo is something that I'm starting to study a little bit more on my own time, away from, you know, my coven and things like that. So I know a little bit. It's nothing to mess with for sure. Like,
Have you ever taken a lock of hair and made it into a voodoo doll?
I decline to answer that question. No, I'm kidding.
Michael, I need a 2-minute break. I'll be right back.
Yeah, go right ahead, bud. Yeah, that's no, I'm learning something tonight too. You know, I'm over here just soaking this in. This is awesome. This is awesome. He asked that question about the black salt on an earlier broadcast, and I'll be honest with you, I didn't know the answer. So I'm glad you're able to provide that for him.
Yeah, like I said, black salt's good. It's good for protection, but if you're trying to get a spirit to leave, like, I wouldn't necessarily use, I mean, you could, it would like get it to go somewhere, but it's not going to get it to do what you're trying to do. If that makes sense.
No, that makes sense because you know, in doing these sort of things, you have to do the right thing
Right.
for the circumstance. You're not exercising something that's not, you know, being a bother in that way. You wouldn't use something so aggressive, maybe, to push them along out of the area. Maybe use something more gentle.
Right. That's why I had suggested making little herb satchels, because it doesn't sound like whatever's in the pool room is malicious at all.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, the way that he made it sound, it was more or less like somebody's just hanging out just to hang out because it's a, I don't know if it was like a fun place for him when he was alive or something, but but I don't think he needs to go to a drastic, extensive sort of thing to get rid of it.
It could be a sort of synergistic thing too.
Yeah, like I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, you and I have talked about, like, just residual passing through sort of thing.
That's funny that he won't leave, though. I mean, he does sound like he's still having fun there. But as Gutter will tell you, he sometimes does affect the patrons of the bar with a light brush up against a fanny or something like that. So, you know, it sounds like he's having a good time and might be more of that sort of
cheeky bastard.
All right, so moving along here real quick. I love how we kind of get distracted and go down different avenues, and with all the interruptions tonight, I do appreciate all of you guys in the chat sticking with me and making it through. Promise you, the next one I do will not be like this. Okay, we're gonna go back to you know, some organization with that, and I'll have, well, I won't be doing it here. I'll be doing it back in my studio. So that's what that'll be. Anyway, so Jesus, we're already into an hour, but I'm gonna give this a little bit more because we did have those interruptions. So I'm gonna bring out Dudleytown real quick here, and
tell me about it.
Dudleytown. All right, so oddly enough, Dudleytown was something that I even knew about as a child. In Cornwall, Connecticut, there is an old abandoned town which today there's not much left. You barely find a foundation, but they're there if you search hard enough. And this is it's supposed to be one of the most haunted places in the country. I'm just trying to find a quick picture here to show you. Oh, I only have a couple here, and these are actually from other people who've done paranormal investigations. There's not much to take photos of, I'll be honest with you. That being said, the story that I learned growing up is that there were two Dudleys who came over in the 1700s, and they had beheaded their father, Edmund Dudley, back in, oh God, what was it? 1753, I think, according to my notes here. And he was beheaded for treason, but it was their father, and they were kind of trying to escape that controversy. But apparently there was a curse that went along with them, and it came over here to the new town, and the water was undrinkable. The soil was very tough. You couldn't grow anything in there. And very quickly after it was established, only handful of years, it started to become abandoned, and eventually everybody left. Since then, people have tried to use the area, but it's inhospitable for so many reasons. Now, the story that I heard was one of these guys went back to England and returned a month later or so to find half the village kind of lost their minds, a lot of mental illness. Now, that has been documented that there was mental illness in the village, and perhaps more than there were in surrounding villages at the time. But to me, it's not the definitive thing. A lot of this is rumor, but one thing is for sure: the Warrens, Ed and Lorraine Warren, did. I bring you back. Got it? You good? Yeah. Okay. The Warrens did investigate this and label as a very demonically possessed strip of land, and this was back in the 80s, I believe. And since then, people have gone up, and there's been a lot of vandalism. So unfortunately, it's not a site that we could visit today to even check out. Neighbors have shotguns and just waiting for people coming up there. It's been a big problem. But that being said, it's a very interesting place, and it's not accessible anymore, unfortunately.
I heard they want to replace all the statues with Mothman statues. Did you hear this one?
I haven't, but you know what? I'm in full support of that.
Kate, have you ever seen a Mothman?
I haven't.
I've seen him twice over Chicago.
Michael was telling me about that. Did you guys already cover that in a previous episode?
Yeah, we talked about it a few times, but if you want to talk about it, we can. And can I say one thing real quick, Michael and Kate? There's a guy, Mike, here who plays darts with me in the Dart League. Mm-hmm. He saw a UFO with me the other night, and he just wants to come on and say his little piece when we get to the end. Okay?
Sounds good to me, man. Awesome.
So, Kate, you were saying you didn't see a Mothman, or you did? I'll tell you my story.
Yeah, if that's okay. If I know you said you guys talked about it before, but I also don't want to take away from Michael. He was just getting into.
No, we're good.
Oh, sorry,
okay.
Michael.
Go with it.
Did I interrupt, Michael?
Not at all. Go with it, please. Okay. We're good. Yep.
Yeah, if you're fine telling me those stories.
Well, it was twice, and it was over the same position. I was in Forest Park, Illinois. I was just sitting in the backyard, and I see this big, evil-looking devil bird glide over. It wasn't flapping its wings or anything, and it had bright red glowing eyes. But the weird thing about the eyes is any direction that it glided, it had the same color red eyes any way you looked at it. You know what I'm saying? They're kind of like a fly's eyes. They were kind of bugged out, but it was the same color red each way it flew. So it was kind of nuts.
That's crazy.
Yeah, instead of like the light hitting it a different way.
It has this. If you look at a Mothman's eyes, it's the same red, no matter what lighting you have. In my opinion,
that's really interesting. Thinking about the way that light bounces off of surfaces and objects. Do you think that there was a light coming out of the eyes, or do you think it was reflective?
You hit the nail on the head, Michael. You just hit the nail on the head. I think it's bioluminescence. Is that the word I'm thinking of?
Yeah.
Their eyes are bioluminescent red. I
hell?
Completely agree with that. That's a great way to tell me to describe it, because that's the way I was thinking.
That's really interesting. I mean, we know that exists in nature too, outside of itself. So I mean, huh?
Are you a cryptid person, Kate, at all, or no?
How do you mean cryptid?
Have you ever seen a chupacabra or Bigfoot or Mothman? Or I know I asked about Mothman, but anything else?
No, I haven't seen any of that. Honestly, I think I was like 9 years old when I saw some sort of UFO. We were riding bikes, and this side street that we would go down, all of a sudden, just like up in the sky was this black triangle just stuck there. And I was like, what the hell is that? And we all just kind of like looked at it for a minute, turned our heads away, and as soon as we looked back, it's not there anymore. And I want to say 10 years later, about 10 years later, one of my friends told me they were on the street parallel from where I was at that time, and they saw the same thing.
Well, that's the first sign of a true UFO when you say, "What the hell is that?" Right? Everybody's like, "What the hell is that?" And you're like, "Oh my god, it might be a UFO."
I mean, I thought about it way later. Just the fact that there was just a perfect black triangle up in the sky, that threw me off.
They come out like that, Kate. So don't feel like you're the only one that's ever seen it. Lots of people have seen those black triangles too. They're in abundance over our skies. I don't know why most people can't see them, but if you have seen them, you have some sort of gift.
Wasn't there some talk on one of our shows here? I want to say it might have even been Dave Scott had mentioned something, but don't quote me on that. Where they were talking about how somebody could be standing next to you watching the same event and see something completely different. Now that's a curious thing.
Well, that's the thing I've always thought, is that maybe possibly UFOs might just block certain people. They might just show themselves to whoever the hell they want. Maybe they have that technology. But I was in my backyard one time and there was a beautiful giant gold UFO coming down towards us, and my neighbor was mowing his yard. I'm like, "Hey man, look at this thing." And he was with his granddaughter, and he's like, What are you looking at? I can't see it. What are you talking about?" And later on that night, when I was walking through the alley, I heard him saying to his wife, "Oh my god, I saw a giant gold UFO fly over today." So sometimes people maybe just might not have the psychology to handle it at the time, or maybe they want to protect their grandkids, or maybe UFOs just straight up block them. There's so many different possibilities, Michael.
No, absolutely. And we hear all these different stories coming from different people all over the world, describing the same sort of shapes they see in the sky. They're not all satellites, I'm sure. There's got to be something more going on there.
Do the people from Dudley in 1753 have anything to do with aliens or Sasquatch?
Unfortunately, nothing. And that's sort of the weird thing about that area, is that there's only been these legends of a curse that, for all intents and purposes, could be a natural occurrence in certain ways, just strokes of bad luck where you have bad soil, you have water that's, undrinkable. It's just inhabitable. That's it. I mean, but that being said, the real clincher for me is that the Warrens investigated and they did deem it incredibly active. And a lot of times when those guys were on the case, there was a good reason. So that's what gives it sort of the credence to me.
What is up with the East Coast soil? Is it because it was a part of plate tectonics with Africa and it broke off, so it has all these cool gems and stones and things like this? Is that why you guys get all these crazy sort of crystals and things like this?
I don't know. I mean, the minerals are, depend on where you are. You're going to find an abundance of certain minerals, but I'll be honest with you, I don't know the answer.
You look at the rainforest and the things that it produces. The soil that it has is so alive. It just creates an abundance of creatures and life and plants and air for basically all of us. So there's got to be something to fertile earth maybe that might produce very highly energetic crystals and rocks and the such.
I would think that's a good idea. I would think that's very sound. Absolutely. Especially think about crystals. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Do you have any feelings about the fertility of Earth producing crystals and rocks that we can feel?
Well, I mean, Earth is alive. It's been alive since the very beginning. Everything holds on to energy, especially down to and in its atomic structure. So I've had that conversation before where somebody asked me, how can you tell a stone's gender, let's say. Like, how can you tell it has masculine energy over feminine energy or vice versa? It's just everything that it's absorbed, what it's used for, you know, the elements that it's associated with, things like that. Hi, friend.
Hey, this is Michael. Michael wants to share his little UFO story. We were playing darts in the backyard the other night. He's got to take off, so he wanted to come in and
Yeah,
share
no,
it.
that's fine. We're gonna wrap up soon anyway. Please,
Mike,
yes.
what did we see the other night?
We saw two stars in the sky, and we both looked at them, and one disappeared, and one was there, and then we were like, "What the hell?" And it was moving fast. You know what I'm saying? And we were like, "What the hell is that?" And then it just fucking disappeared out of nowhere. Poof! Yeah, we both watched it disappear. And
So in this instance, you both saw it.
We had no idea what it was.
I was there. I saw it.
Right.
Well, thanks
I
for
saw
sharing that, Michael. I appreciate that, dude. Thanks for having him come on.
Thank you, Mike. Michael's
tell us
running
his
off.
story.
But he wanted to share his little story where we saw something weird in the sky the other night. You know, Elon Musk had launched about 56 satellites the other night, so maybe it was one of these things. But the thing about Chicago is, like, it has so much light pollution, especially where we are. We're lucky to see a star, you know, let alone a satellite. So
Yeah.
if we see something weird moving in the sky, people are going to notice it, you know. But there's a lot of freaky stuff that moves over the sky in Forest Park, Illinois, above Carol's Bar here. I don't know why it happens, but if anybody's ever in Forest Park, Illinois, and they want to see ghosts in the bar or UFOs out back, you guys are all welcome here.
That's awesome, dude. Maybe one day we'll get to do that. And you do have that UFO cam, man. I'll be honest with you. I don't know another show has a UFO cam, so
I'll invite you guys all out, and I'll fly you guys all here, and we'll have a big party at the bar. And then Dave Scott from SOR Radio is going to have a SOR convention in Las Vegas here in the near future, and I'm going to invite you guys there with me. All right, is that cool?
sounds good to me, Gutter. I'll look forward to it, pal. But all right, so I mean, we didn't really get to the last topic, but that's fine. I'll save that for another time because we can get into that later. But I'm going to wrap it up. We're a little over an hour here. Sorry for all the technical difficulties, but thanks for sticking around. I really do appreciate both of you guys participating again. Gutter, you're always my right-hand man coming into this. Dude, thank you very much. And for
Michael, thank you.
tonight.
You know, it's fun for me kind of being like a mod sort of underling producer. It's kind of fun doing this stuff. So anytime, brother, I got your back, man. I love everybody in the chat room too.
I appreciate you, bro.
Everybody that
I
hangs
think you
out,
just froze
man,
up there. Kate, you still with us?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Later.
I don't know if you can hear me, but thanks for having me.
All right. So, shit. Guys, thank you very much for coming tonight. I want to thank both of my guests, Kate, Hale, and GutterGawker. You guys are awesome. It was a pleasure having both of you on tonight. You know, Ghost, I'll be honest with you, you're not making this a productive chat, pal. And I haven't blocked you or banned you or, kicked you out because I figured maybe I'd give you a chance. So here's your 2 seconds of attention, bud. All right? Please, don't come into my chat and be an asshole. You want to be funny? Sure, go ahead. Don't be an asshole, okay? All right. So, on that note, folks, thank you very much for joining me. I'm actually going to throw something different. I wish I'd gotten to the last topic because this would make a little bit more sense. But I actually wrote a song many years ago about the Little People Village and the lore that was behind it, which I did find out is not real at all. It's not even close to what that place is. But it's still made for a very interesting song, in my opinion. At least to write it, it was fun. All right, so I'm going to pull it up very quickly. And again, guys, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you to Kate, Hale, and GutterGawker for all your contributions this evening. And I'm going to leave you tonight with this song. It's called Live in Mono. And I don't think I shared it properly, of course. So I'm just going to try that one more time. I wrote this back in 2004. for an album that I was producing at the time. So if you like hip hop, here's some old school / new school underground stuff for your listening pleasure, and I hope it plays through. Folks, have a good night. Thanks for joining.
There must be a God. Yeah, well, I'm not saying
He dunks his head into the dirt because he thinks signs are worthless. Crouching for earth, also scaling foliage curtains. What looks beneath the surface is worse than a native son's furnace. He burned this magnesium sheet of work to blind the sheep burners. Local murders, they'll circulate his bloodstream. His fractured heart is close to most of those closest to his dying dreams. Flying seems to keep his fading senses keen, but it's all a hologram permeating a broken smoke screen. Folks scream, cause he freed some elvish people, guardian of the keyhole that leads to ordinary beings appearing evil. The fourth floor became his easel, where he built little houses on his stone and injured eagles. Making meals, his homely wife cuts and peels, layers off an onion, the head's collection plate appeals. Stealing holy water, dipping into the church sink, replacing it with dirt from the landfill where his head sinks. Carving a throne, just a stone's throw away from the grave we tell our tales, even to the present day. Carving a throne, just a stone's throw away from the grave we shout our tales, resonating in the present day. Nothing could have prepared me for the day I launched this planet. Sinkholes and typhoons blocked your senses to make it look candid. I waves electric current through the soft spot you're branded. I know what goes on with life, how about a little famish? Standing on the mountain, the fountain of youth seekers, along the way from the depths through busted TV speakers. Misleading teachers, cop a vision while they're babysitting. The part of the ground, that evil book, you know it's been written. Stray inhabitants stay at the Vatican, elastic dad that had to spend their lives whipping his subordinate kids with pheasant pens. But it ends, you be gathered through my brethren, but instead I choose to keep my pets dressed till death and judgment. Bludgeon their psyche, but still they cite me. The soul sword through the courts, fighting those who like to spite me. In a weird way, I envy every bastard screaming, bite me. And with that, next time I'll send them in riding on Pisces. I wasn't the